Well, hello and happy Sunday. Thank you for joining me. If you are new here, my name is Jessica. I'm a pet parent coach and positive reinforcement dog trainer. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. And today we're talking about scratching and specifically dog scratching because there are so many different reasons why your dog could be scratching. So, a lot of times we think that if a dog is scratching, they've got fleas. Well, that is only one of the reasons, and it is nowhere near the top of the list. So, there are so many reasons why your dog could possibly be scratching. So, really quickly, while we're waiting for some people to join us live, I do see we have some people. So, make sure you are posting in the comment or chat section, letting me know you're here, letting me know. I'd like to know your name, where you're from. Tell me your dog's name, or if you have multiple dogs, what their names are. Even if you have cats, that's great too. Let me know by posting. I see we've got more people joining on. Thank you so much for being here. So make sure you are posting in that chat section and letting me know that you're here. Hi, Jennifer. How are you doing? I can show comments on the screen. So if you have any questions, do post them and I can show them on the screen. And the thing is that if you have a question, it could be answering somebody else's question that may be too scared to ask. So I really, really want you to, whatever the question may be about, as long as it's, pet related. I don't have the winning lottery numbers. I wish I could give you the winning lottery numbers, but I don't have them. Jennifer, you say you're fine. Thank you. I hope Scout is doing well also. So thank you for being here, Jennifer. I very much appreciate you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about dog scratching. So, Jennifer is a perfect example of someone who is part of our Patreon family. So, she gets all of this information first and also Patreon bonus content. So, like this week, I posted a life update and also with the content about scratching, she got bonus content that we're not going to be talking about in any detail on today's live. So if you are not part of the Patreon family, I highly recommend that you check it out. It's the first link in the description of this video. JR is here and he says hello as well. Thank you so much for being here, JR. If you have any comments or questions, let me know by posting in the chat. And again, I think you just joined us. So just as a reminder, I don't have the winning lottery numbers, so that should not be a question you ask. So scratching in dogs, there are so many reasons why a dog could possibly be scratching. And like I was saying earlier, a lot of people look at a scratching dog and go, oh my gosh, that dog has fleas. Like that's the default that our brain is set to. And by no means should this be the case because there are so many other reasons. The first and foremost, which is possibly one of the biggest reasons, like this is just, it has been exploding in the last, 10, 15 years. We're seeing so many dogs and cats with allergies. And allergies is a big, like all-encompassing term, right? Because when we say allergies, we're talking about, so we could be talking about so many different things. So let me see. JR says, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Thank you so much. Oh, I see Denise is here as well. She says, hi, hello. And who is that very, very beautiful or handsome dog in your picture? Let me know. Post in the comments or the chat section. So yeah, when we say allergies, that could mean so many things, right? We could be that it's not specific. It could mean that there are seasonal allergies. It could mean that they actually are allergic to something maybe new inside of the house, right? Like an air freshener or a candle. We've talked about that before, right? It could mean they could actually have allergies to dust or dust mites or grass, which can pop up in seasonal patterns. Or maybe they have an allergy to flea bites. Maybe they have some sort of food allergy or more likely a food intolerance. A lot of people say food allergy and really mean food intolerance. So, even though the terms are not really interchangeable, people use them that way. And allergy and intolerance are two different things because we can overcome an intolerance. And a lot of times can't overcome an allergy necessarily. Maybe there's some scientific advances that I don't know about, and that's okay. But dogs, just like us, can have allergies. And like I was saying, there are so many different types of allergies. Um, and sensitivities, because like I was saying, sometimes a lot of dogs and cats are developing food intolerances. People tend to call them allergies. Let's see here. Denise says that's Lucas. He's a mini schnauzer. I have Ford. Oh, well, Lucas is gorgeous. So thank you for sharing him. And your 4 dogs. Do any of them have any scratching issues that you have been trying to work on? And Jennifer, does Scout have any scratching issues? JR, I know Kim doesn't, so I won't ask you. I know Kim is good. Okay, so for seasonal allergies, there's a lot of stuff we can do. And if you are new to my channel, earlier this year, I did a video and a post on spring pet tips. So a lot of that had to do with seasonal allergy control. So, when they go outside, limit time outside during, this happens a lot in spring, right? We see allergies pop up in ourselves and our pets. So we limit our time outdoors. We wipe their paws, clean them really well when they come inside. Even running an air purifier in your home can help with seasonal. Keeping your house clean is another one. Not using those scented air fresheners and plugins and candles, because those have, most of them. There are some now that are specifically made to not have those chemicals in them, so they are safe for your pets, but the majority of what you see out there is not it's not safe for you either. Actually, if you have allergies, these could be, compounding the issues that you're having with your allergies. So that's one thing, right? Seasonal allergies we're more familiar with. They're not fun, right? But we are more familiar with them. They come and go, through the seasons, and we know they're seasonal. Right now is a really, really good time for me to interject that feeding a fresh food diet it is helpful for any kind of allergy or sensitivity or intolerance that your dog may have, because the highly processed foods that most people are feeding their dogs are very, very poor, generally very, very poor quality ingredients. They're high pressure, highly processed. They are high heat processed. That's what I was looking for. High heat processed. And these are poor quality ingredients are creating intolerances, food intolerances in our dogs. So another just gotta put it in there, right? That fresh food is good. Let's see. Jennifer says no. Luckily, so far, Scout doesn't have any scratching, itching. That's great. But I know it can happen. Yeah. Well, yeah. So as our dogs age, of course, things happen. And it's not always just age related, but just the fact that your dog has had more time to, in this world, to be around some of these, chemicals and not so great things that are just everywhere, some of which we just can't avoid, right? Or it's really hard to avoid. So even, walking through the neighborhood, other homeowners may put chemicals on their lawn that my dog walks through, or just the homeowners association, right? The gardens and things like that. I don't know what they're putting in there. I don't know what they're spraying on those things. So there are lots of things in the environment. I mean, every freaking thing that we buy is packaged in plastics, right? Like that, it's almost unavoidable. And these are chemicals that we bring into our homes. And so, there's a lot of risk reward we have to take into account. So and as we age, we've been around these things longer. So these things build up in our bodies. So yeah, definitely things happen. And also, I know we were talking on Patreon the other day a little bit. I actually didn't. I had a super busy week, so I didn't have an opportunity to send you another message that I wanted to send you, Jennifer, about I know you wound up having to get a 3-year booster for Scout, which is totally understandable, and helping his body to detox after a situation like that will also be beneficial, because as you saw this morning in the Patreon post, in the bonus section, there are potential risks there as well for itching, right? So I am gonna give a teaser at the end of the video for the bonus on the Patreon post. So I'll mention that again. But yeah, it's there's just so many things that are that could be happening when your dog is itchy. So the bottom line with allergies, they're just not, it's not a cut and dry black and white situation. They're not simple, right? There's a lot of investigating that needs to be done when you think your dog has allergies, or if your dog, even if your vet has said, okay, your dog has allergies, there's a lot of research and investigation that needs to be done. And if you take nothing else away from just the topic about allergies in general, but everything, I was actually just talking to my husband about this earlier. It was a totally different topic, but still the same thing applies. Don't just treat the symptoms, go after the cause of the symptoms. Because when you only treat, especially when we're talking about allergies, if you're only treating the symptoms, then they are going to come back bigger, meaner, stronger, badder than ever sooner or later. It's just going to happen, right? We need to treat the cause of the symptoms, which is why I like to recommend, it is. Uh, I had a conversation with a lady the other day on YouTube, because she said, no, you absolutely need to go see a holistic or homeopathic veterinarian. And I said, it's just not something everybody has. She was in Australia, I think. And I said, here in the US, it is just not something everybody has access to. And that was really drilled down into me when we moved to Texas, because I have had a really, really hard time. It is totally okay and good, in fact, for you to have a good relationship, even with an allopathic or a traditional medicine veterinarian. But it's okay to have a team, right? Working with you and your dog for, especially if you're having issues like this with allergies, because it is so multifaceted that having multiple doctors on your side, on your dog's side, working together to figure out what is actually going on. More than likely, not always, but more than likely, a traditional medicine veterinarian is going to say, oh, you've got allergies, here's a prescription for that, right? They know, they are taught and they know how to treat symptoms. It's not their fault. That's what they have been trained to do. That's what they learned in school. So having additional tools in your toolbox by also incorporating holistic and homeopathic integrative veterinarians, especially if you have a dog with allergies, is going to be so crucial. So for the Patreon supporters this morning, I gave you guys this post was full of a ton of links. So again, if you're not already part of the Patreon family, make sure you join. It's the first link in the description. You will get access to all of the back content as well, including today's content, which has a ton of links in it to other things we've talked about related to today's topic. So let's see. Jennifer says, we are surrounded with fields. I hate when they spray in the spring. I know, right? Because that's something that you are intentionally not putting in or on your yard, but then it's happening around you. Totally get it. So that's just one thing that could be going on with your dogs. And I'm going to try to speed this up, guys. The second thing that could be going on with your dog, especially if you've been to the vet, they can't find anything going on. Boredom and anxiety are two reasons that your dog could be scratching. So even if there isn't physically anything going on, there's nothing medically going on with your dog, a dog that has, or even a cat that is bored or has anxiety, can be excessively scratching, licking, chewing, all of the above. Because when they have nothing to do, they're looking for stuff to pass the time. They're bored. And for a small pet in your home, licking, chewing, scratching. These are things that fill up their time. So boredom actually is pretty relatively easy to fix because we can engage our dog with mental and physical enrichment and exercise every day. And then anxiety, of course, is something we do need to work with to find the underlying cause and help our pet through. So there's a lot going on there, but it is something to think about, especially when you have been to the vet and you have found no underlying medical issues and you just can't figure out why this is happening. This is something we can look at, is boredom and anxiety. So the third reason that your dog could be excessively scratching is dry skin. So just like us, our dogs can get dry skin, especially when you live in a drier climate or in winter months when you're locked indoors and you have, the heat running all the time like we do. And so keeping your dog hydrated is super, super important. And while dogs are generally pretty good about drinking enough water, again, here's another opportunity for me to just insert here that fresh feeding is a good idea. And so for instance, my dog Kimberly eats a raw food diet. So it's a very moisture rich diet. So even if she isn't taking a ton of water out of her water bowl, which she's pretty good about drinking anyway, I know that she's getting plenty of hydration through her food. That's another reason why it's so important for our cats to not eat kibble, because they are chronically dehydrated. But yeah, so I know that she's receiving a ton of moisture already through her diet. And again, that's just one thing that you can do. And sometimes your dog is still going to need help with their dry skin. So there are two other things that I have mentioned in today's everything I prepared for today's video. The first is adding your balanced omega-3s and omega-6s. There's a lot of talk out there about adding omega-3s to your dog's diet, even your cat's diet, even your diet, right? Like it's a buzz thing right now to add omega-3s, and they are so incredibly important. But balancing your omega-3s and omega-6s is also really important because they can be out of balance if you're getting too much of one or the other. They work together, and if they are out of balance, it can cause havoc in your dog. So not just any omega-3 supplement out there is going to do. Whole fish, of course, would be the best way to get that balance of omega-3s and omega-6s. But of course, we have to consider there could be availability issues, and you only want the freshest fish, right? And larger fish have the potential for high levels of heavy metals, including mercury. So some of the best sources are going to be Atlantic mackerel, sardines, and anchovies. So when I notice Kim's skin is getting a little dry, maybe her paw pads, that's generally where I notice on her is her paw pads, we'll add some sardines to her diet. So she gets them fairly regularly. And then the other thing you can do is add coconut oil. So I linked to on the Patreon post to Coco Therapy. It's my go-to for high quality coconut oil, especially for my pets. And it can be used both topically and it can be ingested. So there are tons and tons of great reasons to use coconut oil with your pets. So let's see here. Denise says, I have a Kimberly too. Aw, how adorable. Kimberly Gautier with Keep the Tail Wagging. She always every time I come in contact with her somewhere, she always comments how much she loves that my dog is named Kimberly too. So it just reminded me of that when you said you have a Kimberly as well, Denise. So hormonal imbalances are the fourth reason that I put on today's list. And these definitely need to be addressed with your veterinarian and may not be easy to diagnose. So when you bring your dog into the vet and you say, hey, they're scratching a lot, most traditional veterinarians are going to be like, they have some skin allergies or they have dry skin, and they're going to go that route. And only after those treatments don't work, will they look into further things. And that's understandable, right? Because that's what you do in science. You say, okay, X is wrong. We know Y treats it. And if that doesn't work, then we'll look further. That's what you do. And so that's understandable, but understand that there are other things that could be going on out there, and hormonal imbalances is one of them. So there are lots of different types of hormonal imbalances that have excessive scratching as part of the side effect that is listed. One of the most common ones is hypothyroidism. So I actually linked to Dr. Becker's blog on this because, when you're talking about medical issues, you want to talk to somebody, a doctor, right? And she is a doctor. So, hypothyroidism is just one of the hormonal imbalance conditions that could be going on in your dog's body that could lead to excessive scratching. So that's just another thing that I wanted to put in your head to say, it's not all about fleas when we look at a dog who is scratching. The fifth reason, this one is kind of interesting, that your dog could be scratching is because they are in pain, or maybe that area that they're scratching could be painful. So this is yet another great reason for you to consult with your vet if you notice your dog is excessively scratching, because if your dog has a cut or abrasion, or maybe some other sort of pain going on, even something internally that we won't be able to look and see, oh yeah, there's something going on there, scratching, pawing, and licking in that area is a normal response for a dog. So again, yet another reason to make sure you are going to the vet if you notice that your dog is excessively scratching. So it may not actually be itching, that they may not be itchy. They may not be scratching an itch. They could be scratching because there's a pain there that they're trying to address. So this would also include ear infections and any sores and infections of the mouth. They could be scratching and pawing in those general areas. That all of that is encompassed when I say pain. The sixth reason is parasites. Now, of course, I've mentioned this already about fleas, but fleas, mites, ticks, these are some of the most common external parasites known to cause scratching in our dogs. And also, your dog could be scratching or rubbing their bottom along the floor carpeting if they have worms or some sort of internal parasite. So lots and lots of different parasites out there. And while there are many chemical preventatives on the market, I would highly recommend that you look into alternative therapy because and I've talked about this a lot on the channel in the past. So for my Patreon family, I've already given you links to some of the things we've talked about in the past as to why you should stop using traditional flea and tick medications on your pet, and safe alternatives to flea and tick treatments for cats and dogs. So that's another reason. Now, the seventh reason, this one is really, really interesting, and it's phantom scratching. So this is something that I feel like if you have gone through everything else on the list, literally everything else on the list, then and only then would your vet actually recommend that you consult with a what's the word I'm looking for? With a probably a neurologist or something similar to a neurologist in the vet world, because the nervous system could be phantom scratching is where the nervous system in the brain is firing, telling your dog that there's an itch when there's actually no physical stimulus that would cause it to happen. So there's nothing actually happening to your dog or going on with your dog that should be resulting in an itch leading up to scratching, but the nervous system is sending the signal saying there is something there. I hope that makes sense, because that's what phantom scratching is all about. And it's a weird one. That's why I wanted to include it today. So there's actually one more reason. It's a Patreon bonus. So if you are not part of the Patreon family, make sure to check the very first link in the description and join the Patreon family and check it out. I kind of alluded to it earlier with Jennifer and her dog Scout. And the term that you need to be aware of is called vaccinosis. And we talked about it before on the channel very, very briefly. It is an kind of an all-encompassing term for a lot of different symptoms related to over vaccinating, whether that's dose frequency or whether that is the amount of dosage that your dog gets or the frequency of dosage. So it's really, really interesting. I go into detail about it in the Patreon post. So I definitely recommend you check that out and join the family because you just get so much over there. I can't wait to see you. So let's see. Jennifer says Scout gets coconut oil on his elbows so he gets some to eat while I'm rubbing his elbows. Yes. So that's definitely a great way to do it because there are lots of benefits in eating coconut oil. And for you, Jennifer, I've tried this in the past and I think I might do it again because it actually is really interesting and very beneficial. It's called oil pulling. So you take like a teaspoon of coconut oil and you put it in your mouth and you close your mouth and it really, really quickly melts because of the heat, your body heat, right? And then as it melts, you just kind of swish it around in your mouth and keep it in there for, a good minute or so and swishing it all around and spit it out. So it's called oil pulling. It's really great for you. I know our dogs aren't going to do that, right? They just want to eat it. But there's a ton of great benefits. I mean, coconut oil has so many benefits out there and topically as well. I will use it. I actually use it a lot of times just instead of lotion. I'll put just a teeny little bit on the tip of my finger and rub it into my hands. And that way, I don't have dry, cracked hands. I have nice moisturized hands. So use it a lot for dry skin, for Kim's paw pads. Love it, love it, love it. So wonderful. So those are some of the reasons why your dog could be excessively scratching. And I wanted to throw some really we know this stuff in here, like fleas, right? As well as kind of odder things like the phantom scratching and the bonus, which I definitely recommend you go over to Patreon and read more on, which is Vaccinosis, because I want you to understand that it's not black and white, right? It's a huge gray area. So I know in my mind, when I see Kim scratch, I'm going, oh no, oh no, oh no. But normally she's just like, okay, she's got a quick itch and it's done. If she's excessively scratching, the only times I've seen my dog, Kim, of course, plenty of other dogs, I've seen them excessively scratch, and there's all different reasons out there. But the only time Kim has ever excessively scratched was at her ear when she did have a little bit of an ear infection long time ago. And so I knew, that was an indication to me that, oh, she's scratching at her ear. There's something going on there. So, we need to take so many things into consideration when we're looking at our dog scratching. Because it's not cut and dry, right? It's not just one thing. There's so many things out there. So I want to say thank you so much to everybody who joined today, Denise, JR, Jennifer, and everybody else who didn't comment, but I see that you are watching because my program lets me know that you are out there, and I appreciate you. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, make sure you are subscribed or following, depending on where you're watching from. I also, if you don't know, even though the video is live on YouTube, I post these videos on Rumble as well. So if you're not following me on Rumble, if that is a platform you would prefer to watch on, just a heads up, I am over there as well. And so I can't wait to one more thing, little housekeeping tip, JR. Thank you so much. What does Rumble tell us? So Rumble is an alternative to YouTube. I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. It's an alternative to YouTube. So if you are looking for an alternative to YouTube, Rumble is where you should be looking. And next Sunday, so the Sunday after Thanksgiving, I am not going to be going live. However, I am going to have 2 videos go up for you. Yes, I said 2 videos for you to watch. One is going to be my favorite products of 2021 that I bought for my dog, and the other is going to be my favorite products of 2021 that I bought for my cats. Now, I had to really, really, really hone in and like condense these lists down to like just a few things, because I didn't want them to be like 4 hours long each, because I bought a lot of stuff this year. We moved, we got rid of a lot of stuff. I had to replace a lot of stuff. I bought a lot of stuff this year, which is unusual. I mean, sort of unusual. Like I wouldn't normally completely furnish my cat room in 1 year. Never done that before, but did it this year because we moved and got rid of a lot of stuff when we moved. So I bought a lot this year, and my top, like just the absolute best products are on this list. So next Sunday, I will not be live, but you're getting 2 videos. So I hope that makes up for the fact that I won't be going live. You're going to get two videos. Also, if you're not already following the podcast, it is completely different content. I'm telling you, it is completely different content on the podcast. You need to go over to wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you listen, whatever podcast network, whether it is Spotify or Apple or Google or iHeartRadio or Pandora or wherever you get your content. Search the Pet Parenting Reset and make sure you are following and downloading the episodes to listen to. And a quick tip, I talk faster than a lot of people, but I listen to all of my podcasts on 1.5 speed. It helps me get through them a lot quicker. I can consume more content that way, and I have a very limited amount of time to consume every week. So thank you, Jennifer, and happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. I'm trying to get a lot of content done so I can post for the holidays, so I don't necessarily have to be live like right after Christmas and right after New Year's. So that's why you're getting a 2 for next Sunday. So make sure, if you're not subscribed, if you don't have your bell notification, like your notifications on, click the bell and make sure you're getting notifications. Click, I think it's all notifications. That way YouTube can actually tell you, hey, Jessica put up a new video, and you'll actually get a notification letting you know that video went live, or letting you know that I am going live if I'm going live. So with that, I'm going to end today's video. Thanks so much for hanging in there. It's so fun when you guys interact and comment. I really, really, really enjoy it. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here. Give your pups and your cats some extra love from me. And if you have any questions, by the way, about what you can and cannot feed your dog around Thanksgiving, let me know. Most things are okay. I'd say stay away from nuts, stay away from fat, because it's cooked fat. So not a ton of turkey. You can give like turkey breast is fine, and nothing with onions, okay? But if you have any questions, reach out to me, because your dogs can enjoy Thanksgiving with you. There's a lot on the dinner table that they can enjoy with you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you soon.